Hi, this is Taylor Otwell back with another Laravel screencast. This is going to be an informal screencast. I haven't talked to you in a while, and I've got quite a few things I want to go over with you and show you. We're just 6 weeks out from the Laravel 4 launch date, so new features have still been coming in fast and furious here, and I've got a few I want to show you tonight that I think are going to be really cool, you're going to be excited about. So let's jump right in. The first thing I want to show you is the new support for HTTP basic authentication. This provides you a quick way to kind of prototype some applications or maybe to authenticate your API if you want to use HTTP basic. And it's super easy to set up. So let me show you how it works. All we need to do is create a user here first. I've got a users table already created. Let me go ahead and make that guy. Let's just say user equals new user. User email is my email. And we're going to go ahead and set the password to a hash of secret and save. So let's go ahead and make that user. I'll go ahead and hit that route. And we can see the user in our database. There's our password hash. So we are ready to go. So now if we want to put basic authentication on this route, what we need to do is very similar to what you do for the basic auth, or by basic auth I mean the regular auth you're used to. We're just going to say before auth, and instead of just plain auth, we'll say auth.basic, and then our callback. And that is all there is to it. We are ready to authenticate. So now if I hit that route, we're going to get the HTTP basic prompt that you've probably seen in your browser before. If we hit cancel, we're just going to get invalid credentials. And if we really enter valid credentials, we're just going to be prompted again like you would expect. So let's go ahead and enter the correct credentials here, my email and secret, and we are logged in. So that's all there is to it for setting up basic auth. I can continue to hit this route as you can see, and I am logged into the application. So this is great for building out APIs or even for just quickly prototyping an application. You're not ready to kind of hack up a login view. You just want to kind of start playing with the application, because once you have auth basic set up, all you need to do is just drop the basic and now you're on regular auth. So it's super easy to switch. And let me show you how this works. Really what's going on is we've got a new filter in the filters file called auth basic right under the regular auth that you have probably seen previously. And all it does is just return auth basic. And you probably noticed it was using my email address, but you can actually pass in the column you wanted to use. So I could say username here, and it's going to use the auth driver you have set up in your auth config. So in this case, it was using the Eloquent driver on the back end, just with HTTP basic on the front. So that's all there is to it. And that is HTTP basic auth in Laravel 4. And I think it's going to be a cool feature. I kind of like it. It's really quick to set up, no views to mess with, so it's nice for APIs or for prototyping. Or even for your own kind of back office application, which you don't really want to put a full login view in front of. Okay, so there you go. That is basic auth. Next, I want to talk about cache sections. This was sort of an undocumented feature in Laravel 3, actually, that only a few people may have played with. But what this is it lets you cache things that are maybe related in some way to your business domain and then flush that entire section at once. This is really handy for kind of grouping things in the cache and then flushing all those things at the same time. So let me just jump right in and show you the syntax. Well, let's use the Redis driver. I think I've already got it set up. Yeah. So we're going to use Redis because I can show you this pretty easy. But all you do is say cache section, and I'm going to say names as our section, and I'm going to put Taylor, and then Otwell as the value. We'll cache that for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to put another name in here. Let's do Dale Reese. Okay, also for 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and hit that route. Go ahead and get those guys in there. Okay, now let me show you this. Let me pipe into my VM here that's powering this and fire up Redis Commander, which is just a little UI for Redis, a little Node.js app. And let's see, I think that's on localhost 8081. Okay, so here's Redis Commander. I can see Laravel names, and then you can see this number here, 6844. Let me drill into that and see. There's Dale Reese as the value and Taylor Otwell as the value. So this is what we would expect. The only thing that might be a little different here is this kind of structure here with name 6844. And what this is doing is, let me go ahead and flush this and make it a little easier for you to see. Well, first let me just return one so you can see. This is pretty transparent here. Let's go ahead and get Taylor out of the cache. Whoops. Okay. And Otwell. So you can see I don't have to worry about that number when I'm pulling things out of the cache section. I can just pull them like normal. Same way with Dale. If we want to pull Dale, gosh, I can't type here. All right, now we get Reese. Okay, so that's what you would expect. But let me go ahead and flush that section. Cache section names flush. Okay, I'm going to hit that route. And if I pull up Redis Commander, you'll see that actually nothing seems to have changed under this names thing. Although if we go to section names key, it now says 6845 instead of 6844. Okay, so that's a clue on what we're going to do. Let's go ahead and stick those names back in there. Let's see, cache section names, put Taylor Otwell. And for 10 minutes again. This time I'm not going to put Dale in. Let's just put my name in. Okay, I've hit that route. And let's check out Redis Commander. Names. Now we've got 6844 and 6845. And now only Taylor is in the section. So you can see if I hit, if I try to return cache section names get Dale, this actually shouldn't return anything. This is blank because we flushed the section. Remember, we've only put Taylor back in. So basically what this is doing is the section key is holding the active section identifier. And when we flushed the section, it basically invalidated the 6844 namespace. And now we're on the 6845 namespace as our active section. And those 6844 keys, remember, those are just going to expire off after 10 minutes, like we said. So those will eventually go away. And the new section is 6845. So if we flushed again, the active section would become 6846, and both 44 and 45 would eventually expire. So that's kind of the trickiness that's going on behind the scenes to manage these sections for you and to simulate you flushing them out. So, okay, so this is a really cool way to group up keys. What you can actually do is just say cache section names and get that section variable, and now I can just say section put. And I'll go ahead and put Ian Landsman. I'll put him in for 30 minutes and fire that guy off. And if we pull up Redis Commander again, you can see that Ian was added to that new section. So I can continue adding things to the section. I can flush the section. I can pull things out really easily. So this is a really nice way to group your sectioned items and kind of flush related things all at once. I think you're really going to like it. It's a really handy feature. Okay, and so that works not only across Redis, but also with Memcached, WinCached, APC, any of the drivers that support atomic, increment, and decrement. So that's everything but file and database at this point. So Redis, Memcached, APC, and WinCache are all going to support this cache section feature. And if you try to use it with a driver that doesn't, you should get an error. Okay, so that's cache sections, a pretty cool new feature, I think, in Laravel 4. Okay, so while I'm on the topic of cache, actually, let me mention one other thing about Redis. If you go to the database config in your Redis config, you'll see that there's a new cluster true option. What's actually happened here is we've switched to the Redis library, PHP library available on Composer. That drives all of our Redis backend now, and that's going to do client-side sharding for you automatically. So it's going to evenly distribute your values across a cluster of servers. So I can add more server configurations here like that, and I would give this a different name, of course. Let's say server 2, and it's going to divide our keys for us across these servers. So you can pull up as many servers as you want. Redis is going to shard those for you automatically. So that's a really cool new feature, powerful new feature. You can kind of lump up a whole lot of RAM with a lot of Redis servers, and then it will cluster all that or shard all that for you. And you don't even have to worry about it. That's all going to be transparent behind the scenes. One thing to note is that the client-side sharding, of course, if one of your servers does fail, those cache keys are not going to be available anymore, and those will be put on another server. However, the values that were in the cache won't be merged to the new server automatically. So that's probably not something you want to use for, say, your primary data store, but for caching, that shouldn't matter if you lose a cached value because presumably you have it in another data store behind the scenes. So anyway, that's client-side sharding with Redis, a really cool new feature. Should let you build some pretty robust caching there, since you can pull up a lot of servers. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is Eloquent Touch. This is a pretty crazy new feature in Laravel 4. I think you're really going to like it. First, let's pull back up our database and see what we have here. I've already created this user, and I've already got an orders table out here for us to use, and I've defined the relation on the model. So let's go ahead and define or put an order in the database. Okay, I'm going to say order, new order product equals PlayStation 4, and let's go ahead and pull the user that we're going to attach this to and say user orders, save that order. Okay, so that should insert this order into our database. Let's go ahead and hit that route and check this guy out. So there's our new order. It's got the user ID set correctly and our timestamps like you would expect. Now, what we have is a new property on our Eloquent model called touches. You can see it right here. We're saying protected touches user, and what that's saying is user is the relation, as you can see here, and that's saying whenever this order model is updated, I want you to touch the updated at timestamp on the parent user. So if I update this order, it's going to go back and update the timestamp on the parent model. So this lets you build some cool Russian doll caching on top of Eloquent if you want to. And maybe kind of the base for some features coming in Laravel 4.1 or 4.2. But this is kind of the foundation for building some of that stuff. So let me show you how it works. Okay, now that we've got our order, let's go ahead and pull it down again out of the database. We're going to update the product name to Xbox 720, and then we'll go ahead and save. Okay, so let's take a look at our timestamps before we do this. On the order, we've got April 12th, 3:43:57, and on our user, we've got April 12th, 3:43:57. So those aren't any different right now. Let me go ahead and change that actually, so we can. This will be a better example. Let's go ahead and touch this user timestamp to kind of get them out of sync, so to speak. Okay, so I'll go ahead and touch that guy. That all looks right. Let's go ahead and hit that route. Okay, so now our user timestamp should be 3:45:32. Our order timestamp is 3:43:57. So you can see they're out of sync right now. Okay, so if I pull that order that we created and we update the product, to Xbox 720 and order save. Now, when I update this order, of course, this updated at timestamp will change the order timestamp just like we would expect, but also it's going to go back and update the user, the parent user's timestamp. Let me go ahead and hit this and I'll show you what I mean. So right now our order timestamp is 3:43:57. Okay, I've saved the order. Let me refresh. Our new timestamp is 3:46:16. Also on our user, 3:46:16. So you can see just by updating the user or the order, it was smart enough to come back and update that parent user, all because of the new touches property on the order model. I said touch user. It said, okay, I've updated myself. Now I'm going to go update the updated at column on my parent. So this is really cool. This works across all relations, belongs to even across many-to-many relations. And it also will update, say I delete this order. Let me go ahead and show you that. Say I pull down this order and I say order delete. Okay, so our current timestamp is 3:46:16. I'm going to delete the order. and our new timestamp on the user is 3:47:13, and the order has been deleted. So a delete is considered something that it will touch the relation even on a delete, because the children of the user have been changed.